I'm not mincing my words here, how the deception of the modern medical system began. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm a health practice advocate. Here's the deal. I help health practitioners get people off drugs and surgery. If you need help, I'm going to tell you, you will not want to miss this video. So here we go. I'm going to get fired up about this. There's no bones about it. I have been in the past told, hey, Dr. Dan, you get extreme about some things. And I'm going to tell you on this one, when you hear this and you don't get extreme, my question is, how in the world would you not? Because when I point this out, and again, some of this you've heard before, some of you haven't. Let me start by saying this. Our current medical system, our current modern medical system is based on the idea you enter it when you're sick or you have symptoms. Already, that's a problem, because if it's healthcare, you wouldn't always enter only if you had symptoms. There would be something you could do to either prevent symptoms or something that you can continually do if it's healthcare to actually get healthier. Now, that's a story for another day. Our healthcare system is actually a sick care system. You enter when you're sick and you get a diagnosis and a drug. That's typical. Not many people disagree with this. Is there a time and a place for drugs? Absolutely. Have we come a long way in terms of medical care and emergency medicine? Yes. Absolutely. It's the greatest in the world. Our emergency medical system is the greatest in the world. The problem is we've applied emergency medical care to everything. And the question that I'm having here for you to ask yourself, or maybe you already have, is how did this all begin? Because when you look back, it wasn't always this way until a gentleman by the name of John Rockefeller came into power. So Rockefeller, as you know, was an oil guy. He was the first billionaire in America. Rockefeller owned Standard Oil, which eventually became Exxon and Chevron and Mobil, but he had all control. And when you actually dive into this, the way he controlled was very manipulative. He would use very strong, arguably not illegal, but not ethical tactics to blackmail certain people and companies until he got his way. Well, it turns out they did a similar thing for the medical profession. In 1907 was the first time that they used a certain petrochemical to actually create plastic. That set on this path to where they realized that oil manufacturing would be a main contributor to a lot of products. In other words, oil was going to make up a lot of products that were going to be sold and therefore big money. And Rockefeller figured out, I've got control of the oil, I also want to get control of the chemical industry, and I also then want to get control of the medical industry. So looking back, this is again what's so important, is that before 1910, that most medical schools taught what is now known as alternative medicine, meaning there were doctors and hospitals and medical schools that subscribed to the fact that the body healed itself and that you can do things without drugs or surgery to get the body to heal. Things like plant medicines, herbal medical care, naturopathy, essential oils, homeopathy, and chiropractic. These methods and models were known to help a lot of people. And it actually came from Europe and Eastern medicine and even the Native Americans when you look back of where this came from. But then something happened. In 1910, Rockefeller hired a guy named Abraham Flexner to travel throughout the country and to visit the hospitals and the medical schools and to deliver a report at the state of the current healthcare system. The report that was arguably written before that, some controversy around it. He was just a puppet doing what they wanted him to do. In fact, if you really look at it, Rockefeller wanted to create a problem, reaction, solution. If you create the problem, you have a pre-planned solution, you actually in the middle scare enough people to know that they're gonna need the solution that you already had planned for. And that's what he did. And in 1910, the Flexner report came out. This is from Abraham Flexner, who had traveled the country and basically said there is a lot of pseudo-scientific quackery that's occurring in hospitals and medical schools. And because of this report, half of the medical schools got shut down. Now, the argument is we're standardizing and homogenizing healthcare. that there is some predictability and consistency, which I can argue, hey, that's great. And they want to raise the standard of people who are getting into medical schools so they could predictably produce doctors that were credible. I get that. I think that's good. But here is where the problem lies. He teams up with Andrew Carnegie, and they put $100 million into a fund that funded medical schools and the General Education Board. This led to government programs and standards that the only solution to certain symptoms and diseases were patentable chemicals. Do you see where I'm going? He hired a scientist to study these herbal remedies, these plant medicines, these essential oils, to find out what's the active ingredient so they could take it out of those plants that you can't patent and put it into a chemical that you can, and therefore that is the only thing that can be sold. And then you create pharmaceutical companies. He invested in a German pharmaceutical company. Guys, it gets so crazy that you think there's no way somebody could let this be. And it was only to this certain group of people, and this is what you must learn, and this is the solution. Drugs, patentable chemicals. And what happened after this Flexner report, they literally said that these pseudoscientific medical people or pseudoscientific doctors have no research, have no science, have no business helping people. In fact, they mocked them, they ridiculed them, they demonized them, and some of them even served time in jail. All because a couple guys with some money wanted to have more power. And I'm not saying, hey, there's certain things that needed to be standardized and raise the level of education and have some science and research behind what is done and have it consistent and reproducible. I'm not saying that wasn't important. But to have the solution be about patentable chemicals as the only solution, that all of these hundreds of years before showing evidence and experience of people getting well through things outside of patentable drugs. See, it gets so goofy in my mind, I almost lose it. I almost want to just yell right now in the camera because I can't help but think all of the lives that have been lost. And not only that, you think of all the people that are in pain right now. So many people, chronic disease, chronic symptoms, and where are they going? They go to their doctor, they go to their doctor, they go to the doctor, test, drug, surgery. I'm not blaming doctors. I've got two of them in my family, brothers, went to medical school. Great people. But see, what they were taught is that the body is weak, defective, and bound to break down and going to need some doctor, drug, or surgery to heal it. That's where you start. When you start from that premise, that's where it goes wrong. When those of us in the natural space say, no, the body is actually so strong and intelligent. It was created in less than 10 months. 2 cells became 80 trillion cells, and it's almost miraculous how this thing works together. And when you start with that premise, that worldview, that understanding, what you do for a problem when it arises is different than if you start from the other premise. And this is why I get so fired up. Because to think the only way we got in this mess is because there was a couple of guys with a lot of money that wanted to flex their power. And to this day, that Flexner report still stands as the birth of modern medicine. And so you sit here and you may call me extreme. And I'm saying, if you know this information, how can you not sound extreme? The bottom line is there's a lot of hopelessness occurring out there. A lot of people that look to drugs as the savior, doctors as a savior, and they need to understand that their body is fully equipped. It is intelligent. Yes, there's things that go wrong. Yes, there's interference that is created. But if you had a healthcare system that looked at the cause of problems and help you address the cause of problems, and I'm saying right now, the only way to take that back is for those of us health practitioners to step up and stand out and take our rightful place to help people solve the cause of the problems. You may want to rewatch this. You may in the comments want to argue me on this one. I am all ears. Let's rock and roll. That's it for me. Hey, God bless you. There is a solution, and we know who's really in charge, the creator upstairs. I subscribe to that. I hope you do as well. Listen, things can get better. Things will get better. And if you need help, let me know. Dr. Dan, I'm out.